For me, this is very important museum, is important project, because this is one of the first building for us to use wood for every part of the building. Hiroshige Hiroshige is a very important ukiyo-e artist in 19th century, and actually, two great artists learned many things from Hiroshige. One artist is Vincent van Gogh, the Dutch guy. He learned many methods from Hiroshige. And actually he wrote, I have three mentors. One is Rembrandt. You know, Rembrandt is same countries. The second is Cézanne, Paul Cézanne, because it's the same generation, the same direction. Third is Hiroshige. It is very strange. Why is a great impressionism artist mentioned about Hiroshige? Because Hiroshige, his method is how to integrate nature and artifact. Today, I don't bring the Hiroshige as art, but the basic concept of this museum is how to integrate nature and artifact. The material-wise, I try to use local material as possible as can. Wood from the mountain behind is best material for the building. It is the Japanese carpenter's method. They said, please use wood from the mountain behind, not from exported wood. And this museum, I want to start this diagram. The museum is sitting at the edge of mountain. And this kind of mountain in Japan, we call it Satoyama, the village mountain. As a village mountain, the meaning is the life of the village is totally supported by this mountain. Before 20th century, the material came from the mountain. Every material of life came from the mountain. And also energy of life, because no electricity and no infrastructures before 19th century, and then people did use wood for cooking and for the hot water, and also for agriculture, the people needs the fertilizer from the mountain. And then in that sense, the mountain is everything. Without mountain, people could not survive. And then, eventually they built shrine, always built shrine as the age of Satoyama. And the shrine is a strong message. The message from shrine is, if we cut all wood, we cannot survive anymore. And they built shrine always. But in 20th century, the people have forgotten that important lesson. Everything came from big city. In this diagram, Tokyo, left side, is everything. Material came from Tokyo's energy, infrastructure, electricity, everything came from Tokyo. And they forgotten the lesson, and they abandoned the shrine, actually. And then the condition of the forest became very bad in 20th century. And the goal of this project is bring people's heart to the mountain. And then I cut the building like that, and to connect mountain and village again. This hall is most important part of the building. and it shows a hall, and this shows a new relationship between village and mountain. And this is as a hall we cut for the mountain, but if we showed this idea to the mayors of the town, and he was not happy. He said, I made the big parking, and why the entrance is not facing parking? And I said, your method is very American method. The Japanese method should be opposite. Japanese method is respect mountain, not respect parking. The America respect parking, but the Japanese respect mountain, I said. And then finally, he agreed with my idea. And this is a cut facing shrines, and the material came from the mountain. And this kind of long eaves is necessary to cut natural light. And this is the sections, interiors. Interior is same. The material came from the mountain and village. The stone is from the quarry of the village, and papers is the products of the craftsman of the village, and of course wood came from the mountain behind. And as a dose effect, the screen is a method of Hiroshige. And I mentioned Vincent van Gogh, the land method of screen and superjuxtaposition from Hiroshige. And also American architect, Frank Lloyd Wright. So he respected Hiroshige very much. And he was a big collector of Hiroshige, actually. And if you go to Boston Museum, you saw many Hiroshige's work, and most of work, the Hiroshige's wood block, came from the collection of Frank Lloyd Wright. And in that sense, Frank Lloyd Wright also he learned the screen as a method from Hiroshige. And I applied that method to the building by using furnitures and the roof and the ceiling and everything. As bamboo is next material, and bamboo is also as very important material for Asia. But to use bamboo is not easy, because bamboo is easy to has cracks, and our solution is to use bamboo for the formwork of concrete. We injected the concrete and steel into bamboo. And that is a column we designed for this small house. Those are the mock-up. This is a house we designed. So forget the neighbors. The neighbors is the typical Japanese houses. The floor is also made by bamboo, the screen. And then the second floor, ground floor, is transparent. It's visible. It's one space. And the next bamboo project is in a very unique location. It's Beijing. It's close to Great Wall. The Great Wall is just behind the building, and the landscape, the topography is also very hilly, but we didn't cut the topography. So we preserved the topography, then it means we can preserve the plants, trees of the place. The building is following the topography. In 20th century, it is opposite attitude. Cut the land, flat land, build something on the flat land. But on the contrary, we keep the topography, and same as Great Wall. Great Wall was keeping the topography as following the landscape. The same method was applied by building. And the bamboo is everywhere. And this is the main space of this house. This is the tea house. this kind of semi-outdoor space is important for special experience. And the wood, as we have many as a challenge. So this challenge, small challenge in Milan, is called the Chidori Pavilion. And the Chidori is the name of this small toy for kids. The system of this toy it has the 3 bars, the 3 sticks with 3 types of joints. And the one sticks, the second sticks, third sticks, and the twist the second one so we can fix the tightly and the finish. And so I asked the Japanese carpenters to cut those sticks following the Chidori system. And my student made this house by themselves. I always use student, and it's very important for them as well. And they can learn something from construction. And after coming back to Japan, so we decided to make the permanent building by the same method. But the dimension is bigger than the original one. Original one is we have this very tiny stick, 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters. It's just very, very tiny. But this is for the permanent 3-story building, and the 6 centimeters, 6 centimeters. And this is a section of the building. It's a 10-meter high, 3-story building. And this is a completion. We don't have columns. Only the grid, the wooden grid, 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. This is interior. And the good thing for this system is this is a museum, but we don't have shelves because the sticks with the glass panels can work as shelves. And my dream is only one unit can make everything. And the next is a bigger application of the similar system. It's a wooden bridge. Also in Swiss, you have many wooden bridges. And most of the bridges are covered by roof to protect food. It's the same. And this village used to have the wooden village. It's a long, long time ago. But I talked with the mayors to build the new wooden bridge by the local wood. And the bridge has those small spaces, and people can stay in the bridge as well. And for the same village, we designed a small hotel. This is not hotel, this is the inspiration. As a material, for this small tea house was applied to my hotel. This is a new facade for the hotel. The thatch is very interesting material, so I thought. The thatch is for insulation, it is perfect. But recently, the artisan who can make thatch roof disappears. And there's a big problem. And we tried to find the craftsman in the village, and finally, the retired craftsman, more than 70 years, he came back to the job, and he achieved this beautiful facade. This is a unit we did use for the facade. This is interior. The people are selling the vegetable from village. And for the international as a company, so we designed this unique Starbucks. The location is in front of old temple, Dazaif Temple, as a built 919, so it's an old building. The temple is behind the Torii Gate, and this is main approach. And then the Starbucks wanted to have the unique shop. And our solution to them is to use wood for structure, but unique structure, similar to the wooden grid, 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. It is a big challenge. And the joint is more complicated. So every angle is 30 degrees and 60 degrees. We avoid the perpendicular grid, but it still works as the main structure of this house. And even for Japanese carpenters, it is not easy work, and then the construction schedule is very, very delayed. But after the completion, many guests they have, and they became very happy after completion. Even in Tokyo, so we try to use wood for public building. The location is in front of temple again. This is very famous temple in Tokyo, Sensoji Temple, with a combination of the pagoda and the main building and the arcade and the entrance gate. Our building is in front of the main gate, and it is a model, so we presented for the competition. And 40 meters high building, but each space is like the one-story wooden house. This is a section, and the section-wise, it is as a very well thought as engineering. The space between roof and floors is used for as machines, air conditioning, and we can maximize the usable height of the building. And this is a rendering, and this is a completion of the building. And please compare those concrete building and our building. The same height, but almost same volume, but the spaces for each floor is totally different. The atmosphere is like that. The small theaters on the 5th floor, and the top floors is used for cafe, the outdoor cafe, to look down the temple. And in China, going back to China, this is a museum of the China Academy of Art. The ideas of this museum is again the village, small village. The site is on the small hill, and we try to follow the landscape as possible as can. The section is like that. The spaces has each roof, and it looks like the aggregation of small roofs, like that. And from far, it looks like the village, one village. But each spaces are connected by the lamp, and also the screen of the village is made by the local ceramic roof tile. The Chinese roof tile is actually beautiful, and the Japanese roof tile is not so much, because Japanese roof tile is the standard life roof tile produced by the big factory, and the same color, same size, the same textures. But China, in small village, they still produce ceramic tile by hand. And then such diversity and such rich textures is possible. And this shows the detail on suspend the roof tile. The stainless wire and the roof tile is fixed to the wires by hand. And this is interior. So we can create the special shadow by unique screen. And the floor is inclined like that. And going back to Beijing, Beijing, as you know, Beijing has many skyscrapers, many development. But in the center of Beijing, this district, as a Chenmen district, there are the big argument about the big development. The developers tried to make the big tower, but people were against those big projects, and some magazines, newspapers were against those big towers. And finally, the Chinese government decided not build towers in that district. And then as one art curators was asked to invite some designers, and me and 5 Chinese are invited to design the small houses here. And our solution is preserve the origin as old houses, but some part is open up like that, and to add as aluminum screens to create the relationship between interior and the street. And this is a detail of the screen. The people can add the pieces to the screen, and it's a kind of flexible screens. It's add easily and cut easily. And this is my own office in Beijing. And you can see the interior of my office very easily. And I like that kind of effect. I like the small street in Beijing, but those street is disappearing. I like this district very, very much. And also I like that I support the decision of Chinese government not to make high tower in Beijing. The structurally, it is a wooden structure. The brick is used for facade, but they did use wood for the building. And so this house is not the special house building, but the structures we found in that house is amazing. So it's close to here. The Besançon is an art center for Besançon. So we kept the brick building, and we add the wooden building to the existing brick building. And again, we try to avoid solidness. We try to create a relationship. And for the city side, so we propose this kind of screens and the covered space and semi-outdoor space and biotope which connects the natures and the building. We designed every landscape as well. And for us, the integration is always the theme of the project. This is the existing wall plus the screen. This is a wooden concert hall and the photovoltaic panel on the rooftop. And in the center of Paris, we did design the entrepot McDonald's. But this is not about hamburger. McDonald's is the name of the boulevard in Paris. Somebody misunderstand. After Starbucks, McDonald's it's not. So this is a build as a 1970s building. It's 500 meters as an entrepot. And master plan was done by OMA, and their idea is separate the building. The existing building is 500 meters, but on the existing building, the 5 architects can design for each building. I was in charge of the west end of the building. And the French architects add the concrete box and steel box on the existing building, but my idea is add the soft roof on the existing box. Box plus the origami is my idea. The origami is holding papers, you know. And again, the material-wise, we try to use wood for the roof. The main structure is steel, but the soffit is made by wood to show wood can give the different impression to the people. This you can see wood. And those screens is made by zinc. And the zinc is again is very common material for the roof of Paris. The roof as a material for the historical Paris, plus wood can give the warm impression to the courtyard. The newest project in Paris is Saint-Denis Player Station in front of Saint-Denis Stadium. As you know, this Saint-Denis area is not a safe area. You remember the terrorist attack in Paris, the terrorists were living in that area, and it's not safe area. Historically, after the Napoleon III, this area was something like that. But our idea is to make the new public space on the station. So we don't want to make the box in that kind of area. And so for interior, so we propose to use wood. And this, again, is not easy for this kind of public building. As you know, SNCF, as a state railway company, is very strict to use natural materials, but finally we can persuade them to use wood. And we found the special treatment, anti-graffiti paint. The anti-graffiti paint is very practical for this kind of station. So in America, a new project in America is Portland Japanese Garden. And you know, Portland, Oregon, is now a very popular place because city is small and compact and narrow street. And it is getting one of the most popular city in America. And our idea is to have some village. It is a kind of museum and plus the school, but we try to make the one village and the common space in the center of the village. And we try to avoid the solid box as possible as can. And the roof is covered by vegetation. As the material we found for the roof is porous ceramic. The porous ceramic is just 3 centimeter thickness. It's very light material, and the plants can grow directly on that ceramic panels. And the doors is openable like that, and if weather is good, the exterior and interior is totally connected. This is interiors, and we again did use the wood from Portland. And in Scotland, as we are finishing this building, Victoria Albert Museum, London, they have that building. And in Scotland, close to the site, I found this beautiful cliff as I tried to make the kind of the artificial cliff on the waterfront. This is as a rendering we propose for the competition. As materials we did use for this facade is the precast concrete with a very rough aggregate. The roughness of Scottish topography is we try to translate to this building. This is facade drawing, and I will show this is almost completed. This is the river, and the building has some compensation. And this is the goal of this project. As going back to Swiss, EPFL as under one roof is the first as a nickname of the project, so we mentioned. And then the last three as a building is called Art Labo in EPFL. So we try to get this hint from the Swiss villages, and the wood is important for Swiss villages, and also the stone roof is important for Swiss. And the structure of this building is combination of wood and as a porous steel, as a punched steel panels. We always try to find some kind of collaboration between new technology and traditional material. This shows a combination of two material. And the roof is covered by stones, and I think this is also the important vocabulary in Swiss. The interiors, we also want to show the wooden structures and wooden panels for interior. The engineering of this the structures is very unique. The thickness, the width of the column is all same, 12 centimeters. But the depth is diverse, and also the thickness of steel is diverse. And it looks like repeating 12 centimeters, but actually the structures for each span is different. That method, as I learned from Japanese traditional houses, the widths is all the same, but actually the depth and the span diverse. In front of those concrete boxes, this building can give the warmness to the campus and also humanity to the campus. Wooden facade plus stone wall, a stone roof. The next project is a new project, the ongoing project. This is a maison d'étudiants as a graduate institute in Genève. This is a rendering. It's close to as a site of United Nations. As a basic idea, basic philosophy of this dormitory is the vertical street. As I learned that method from Le Corbusier as a maison unité d'habitation. Unité d'habitation is he proposed as a street, as a raised street. Our idea is the raised street should be connected with the ground. This shows the raised street on the 5th floors, and it can be the communication space for the student. This shows a connection with the ground. Normally, as a street, as a vertical street, or a floating street was cut from the ground, but in this scheme, we try to connect the roof and the ground by the inclined street. It is just the beginning of the design process. We try to develop the detail of the facade and the street. And this kind of space can work as a co-working space and a co-education space, we believe. And another story with the Swiss, the Rex building in Dallas. This is ongoing. This is not me. This is my friend's craftsman. And his family is has very long history. His family built one of the oldest stone castle in Japan. In 1570, it's almost more than 600 years ago. The name of the castle is Azuchi Castle. The Azuchi Castle, that family develops a new technique to create strong castle wall. Still, that family, only that family can make that kind of castle wall. So I asked him to come to Dallas. At the beginning, he was surprised. Why Dallas? There's a stone castle in Dallas. But it's a Rolex building in Dallas. It is not the rendering. This is a construction site. As you see, Dallas has many glass skyscrapers. I think the natural light in Dallas is very strong, and the reflection of the curtain wall is not appropriate for Dallas. We try to create the twisted shape to create the shadows, and also a horizontal screen to control natural light. And the twisted towers, not so tall as tower, the twisted volume and ground was connected by that stone castle wall. This shows the details of the horizontal panels to control shadow and light. And I don't have perfect pictures for his wall. I want to show his technique, but it will complete the coming April. You can see The beautiful castle was completed in Dallas. As Gabriel and you have Gabriel is working with us he found the solution for this kind of twisted structure. This is the new national stadium for the Tokyo Olympic 2020. The location is very important for the project. So we have 3 parks just next to the stadiums. We want to use wood and vegetation as possible as can, and want to integrate plant to the building. The material is wood from every prefecture of Japan. In Japan, we have the 47 prefectures, and every prefecture can send us the cedar from the forest of those places. And actually, the cedars has different colors because climate are different for each 47 prefecture. It's the same as Swiss, the diversity. And then the color of cedar, some part is dark, sometimes pink, sometimes white. It's different. But I like that kind of diversity. For this kind of big building, each wood should have different color. That is my idea. And also the section is very important. It's similar to the section of EPFL. EPFL, you see the soffit, the covered by roof, is made by wood. And that kind of part is protected from rain and light, and then there is a perfect position for wood. And the same as this building. The wood is used for the soffit of the roof. And then this is the oldest wooden building in the world. It was built maybe 690 something. And more than 1,400 years, it survives. It is amazing because wood survives more than 1,000 years if we can use carefully. So this is a lesson of the carpenter of Japan. And this shrine is close to the stadium, is also the same detail. And the roof is also made by wood and steel as a composite structure, and there's a totally different from the normal sports stadium. And also we try to avoid the air conditioning system as possible. And natural ventilation was calculated by computer simulations, and carefully we decide the angle of the roof. And there's a porous ceramic material used for the floor of the floating passage. And also we designed the creek which will fit the cityscape. And besides those bigger projects, so we are enjoying the small project, small experimental project. This material is ceramic tile. And the ceramic tile was usually used for the cladding, like Gaudi building. The concrete structures cladded with ceramic tile. But for this pavilion, the ceramic tiles was used for main structure of the pavilion. So we tested the tiles. So it's very strong enough. And the basic idea for the structure is the woven structures. The stainless pipe, the diameter is 2 centimeters, and the ceramic tiles are woven to support this pavilion. This is a model. This is analysis, and you can see the detail. And there's a very strange episode that happens afterwards. This is in the Rotary, in the Reggio Emilia in Italy. So one night, one driver, the drunken, hit this monument. The monument was totally destroyed, but the driver survived because it is not concrete. They said, and after the city rebuilt the monument by the insurance, and luckily driver survived because of this light structural system. And another experimental project is called Casa Umbrella. And in Japanese, casa means not house. In Italy, casa means house, but in Japanese, casa means umbrella. And then I started from that joke. The Milano Triennale gave me the title, the Casa de Tutto, house for everybody. But my answer to them is umbrella for everybody, but it works. It's very much related with the idea of the flower dome, the Buckminster flower. So he invented the flower dome system. And the 15 facet is good number for creating dome. That is his solution. And we use the same number. 15 umbrella can make the dome. But umbrella should have this as a unique shape. And the 15 student as gathers and made this umbrella house. And this is the interior. Each umbrellas are tied by the zipper, the waterproof zipper. And you remember the triangular pieces is used for the window, openable window, like that. And after making this pavilion, the student want to drink here. They started to drink, and they stay night in the pavilion. And the idea behind that pavilion is, if something happens, or tsunami or earthquake, the people can carry the special umbrella. And if the friends have the same umbrella, can gather and make umbrella together. If 15 friends can gather, 15 friends can make one umbrella house. That is the basis of this pavilion. Its material. And the smallest pavilions we did is the tsumiki. Tsumiki is a wooden block. And in Europe, the tsumiki is like masonry. It's like stone. But I want to create a transparent tsumiki system, wood block system. The client of this project is Ryuichi Sakamoto, is a famous musician. He is now the chairman of More Trees Society, as he wanted to have more trees in Japan. And he asked me to design the new type of tsumiki. So my answer is this tsumiki. And this is more flexible than the normal masonry type tsumiki. And so that kind of variation is possible. And the last project I show you today is Jubako. This is a wooden trailer house. My dream is to live in the wooden trailers and traveling by the wooden trailer. And the size, dimension of the wooden trailer is same as normal trailer, 2.4 meters and 6 meters. And the doors, the tables and counters are folded like that. And it is interior. As it is in Tokyo's, the small car can pull that trailer house. If one can find this small space, we can open this restaurant in the small site. Actually, it was realized. The name of the restaurant is Trailer, and this is interior of the restaurant. 12 people can sit in this wooden trailers, and every night people can enjoy the wood. And in 20th century, the people was totally fixed to the ground by concrete. The concrete was very, very heavy. But now, if we can go back to natural material, so we can have this kind of life. And architecture can have the different solution. It can show the different solution to this type of new situation. And I learned many things from here in Swiss and from Tokyo's. And so we have the long history about using wood. And I want to bring that wisdom to future architecture. Thank you very much.